Welcome to Andy Ari on 3 here in Las Vegas again. Big Ten Media Days. The Oregon Ducks were here today, Ari. The Oregon Ducks who went 13-0, and then their season ended abruptly in the Rose Bowl with a loss to Ohio State. And it is one of the most interesting dichotomies that you will find, because I don't know how many teams are going to be able to pull that off, what they did in the regular season. But then we hardly think of it at all because of how that last game went.
You know, it's funny. You're standing, 20 feet away from Dan Lanning right now as he's over there.
He's talking to our own Brett McMurphy. Yeah.
And it is the dichotomy. It's a good word, because we even asked Matayo Uiagalalei, who we're going to have on the show, how Oregon fans should view and remember last season. And it wasn't a great answer, but it's kind of revelatory. It's like, I don't know.
Well, and it's not something he's thinking about, because he's thinking about this year.
And I also don't know that players contextualize and think about those types of things.
I don't think you can if you're a player. I think it would be hard.
But I think the fact that he doesn't know is a true litmus test on, like, me. I don't know. How should you view it?
It was an awesome season.
Yeah.
And they ran into a buzzsaw in one game. And that's the thing. Like, that one game, how Ohio State beat them, should not take away from everything else they did. And I think what makes this interesting is, and I think this sort of speaks to the program itself, and this is what I wanted to talk about today, is where Dan Lanning's put this program. Can they be that type of team year after year after year? And I think they can. I think when we look at that roster, they had some obvious holes. You know, that you lose a first-round defensive tackle, you lose a first-round offensive tackle, you lose a great receiver who is very productive, you lose a lot of really good defensive players. But look at what they did in the portal. Look at who they went out and got, who they can just plug in.
So before we preview, and this is a beautiful shot on accident. We're talking about
Oregon. Look at that. Right there. Perfect.
Andy, is the way I view Oregon, I think, is the most optimistic possible way to look at them. And I felt this way before I even walked off the field at the Rose Bowl. And that was an unfortunate result. It was an unlucky matchup, but that is not the personification of the Oregon program.
Yeah.
I think that in order for you to get to be Ohio State or to be Georgia or Alabama, part of becoming that is losing games like that. And from a roster building standpoint, Oregon is becoming more consistent and more reliable in that they will be a top 10 team every year and they will break through. So the health of the program is completely a separate discussion point to me than, like, how should you feel from last year? So, like, if I'm not an Oregon fan.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't, like, feel the pain that Oregon people feel and felt with that day. But from a person who doesn't have an emotional tie to it, I look at last year and go, wow, that was awesome. That was a good step.
But it's interesting to me, because as we go into this season, it feels like they're a little under the radar.
Yes.
We're very excited about Penn State. We think that roster's stacked. Ohio State, like, we talked to Jeremiah Smith and Caleb Downs yesterday. They're incredible players. Obviously, they have a lot to replace, but they're very interesting. Michigan's interesting. We'll talk about them later in the show, because they're going to be here on Thursday at Big Ten Media Days. Oregon, though we look at them as maybe a team that can win the conference, in the Kings of the North poll, they got one first-place vote.
Don't know who that was, but they might not have been crazy.
It's not crazy at all.
So here's the way I got to ask you this. And
Okay.
I haven't asked you this once all offseason.
All right.
Is Oregon a good under-the-radar national championship pick? And I'll before you answer it, I'll preface this. And I thought this was really clever. And, Dan Lanning's been talking to people one-on-one, and he got Heather Dinich. Got him.
Yep.
And Heather Dinich posted, who was on the show yesterday, what's it like kind of existing in the sphere of kind of being under the radar with Ohio State and Penn State, taking a lot of the oxygen up. And he said, that's okay. He likes hunting. I want to be the silent assassin. And I think that it's funny because Oregon is a very loud program, but from a certain aspect of it, it does kind of feel like they're running a little bit under the radar. And we will list all the players that they have if you don't know who they are. Isaiah World, Mekhi Hughes, Dylan Thieneman. They've got a lot of dudes on this team.
Right, these are transfers who came in.
And then on top of it, Andy, Ohio State from last year does not exist anymore. And if you actually believe that Oregon is as talented or a little bit more talented than they were a year ago, then conceivably that would be a pretty good bet.
So here's the thing. I actually looked up the odds on the BetMGM site. They're not under the radar.
Okay.
So Texas plus 500, Ohio State plus 525, Georgia plus 700, Penn State plus 700, Oregon plus 900, Clemson plus 900.
Yeah.
I would say those are all your favorites right there.
Yeah.
So they are a favorite.
So maybe the under the radar aspect of it is more like
it's more
oxygen
us
than us.
It's more us than it is like, because what do the people who make the lines do? They don't care
personnel
what we think. They care about
the algo.
Is this going to be expensive for us or not?
Yeah.
And
I mean, 9-1 and 5-1 for Ohio State is still a pretty drastic difference.
Right.
It doesn't mean like, 9-1 is a nice number. I think that would be worth a few shekels because, as we think about the Ohio State, Penn State aspect of this, Ohio State has every bit as many questions as Oregon does.
I'd say they have more.
And I think you could make the case that Oregon was not make the case. I think it's a fact that Oregon was much more effective in the portal and in replacing some people. So obviously the one thing that Ohio State has that Oregon doesn't is the best player in college football on both sides of the ball.
Right.
And they have a receiver that will make any
But
Oregon
has some of those guys who maybe they're not the best in the sport.
Yeah.
But a couple who are going to be in the running for that. One of the guys we're talking to today, Matayo Uiagalalei, might wind up as the best pass rusher in the country this season. We'll see. He was the best in the Big Ten last year.
But if Dante Moore comes out in the first month of the season and looks awesome,
right,
that completely changes the entire paradigm of the way that people view Oregon. And I think that's within the realm of possibility. You hear things like Dante Moore has become a leader in that locker room. I think people respect the way that he came there and sat willingly in the transfer portal. Not a lot of people.
It's an unusual story. It's an unusual situation.
Developed behind the scenes, and you had Dylan Gabriel, who had 15,000 yards passing in his 9 years as a starter in college.
Yeah,
but like Dante Moore might be has more live arm.
He has a higher ceiling probably than Gabriel. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. The ceiling for Gabriel's college production was about as high as it possibly could be, but ceiling in the NFL maybe.
Right.
Although Browns, we'll talk about the Browns later in the show, I think a little bit too, but the Browns are saying a lot of good things about Dylan Gabriel in the NFL. I don't know if I buy that, but
But we buy Will Stein as an excellent offensive coordinator. We also buy this program as one that will go get what it needs. And if they thought they needed something different quarterback, they would have gone and gotten it.
I know, but if you go down the list,
they like Dante Moore.
You go down the list of what Ohio State has, and you go down the list of what Penn State has, like just position players that are exciting to you. Oregon's list is every bit as long.
It is,
and it does seem to be that they're the third wheel in the tricycle discussion.
But some of it is we've only gotten a taste with some of these dudes from Oregon, or they're transfers, and we're not really sure yet. Isaiah World, you mentioned his name a few times. This is a name you're going to hear a lot. Isaiah World is an offensive tackle who transferred to Oregon from Nevada. If you pay attention to the pre-draft stuff, if you follow draft Twitter, his name's all over it as a potential very high draft pick.
Yeah. Ohio State got Quinshon Judkins last year. That was a big move. People were excited about. Yeah. Mekhi Hughes may be every bit as productive, and we don't talk about him. And when I say we, I mean, when I say we, I collectively, I bring all you national people with us.
Yeah.
Because he's going up a level, but I think that he's going to be a very good player.
It's not just guys they got, and Dylan Thieneman also was good at Purdue, but it's not just guys they got out of the portal. It's guys like Kenyon Sadiq, who is their tight end, who was a special teams ace. You didn't really see him break out last year until the Big Ten championship game. And in that game, you're like, holy crap.
And he's here now.
Yeah.
Quarterback, running back, offensive line, receiver. I don't know if they got better at receiver. Evan Stewart, being
got
out
hurt
for the year is a tough blow. But they
can rush the passer. They have
good cover guys,
incredibly fast linebackers.
Their fastest player on their team is a linebacker.
Is a 225, 230-pound linebacker.
I think that if you go from every level on both sides of the football, quarterback obviously is a glaring concern. and that we don't know who he is, but that could be a concern that goes out the window immediately.
They don't seem concerned
yeah.
at all.
So anyway, we do spread out the love a little bit here, but we would, Andy and I had a discussion today about whether or not we need to be more generally positive about everybody. And I don't know, you guys let us know what you think.
Yeah.
But
should we tell you exactly what we think is going to happen, or should we blow some sunshine up your butts?
Because we don't blow any sunshine.
Yeah.
And I'm bringing this up because if you're an Oregon fan listening, I think you should be very proud of what Dan Lanning has built. I think you should be very proud and excited about the potential of this year. And I think it's possible that we are right back in November where we were a year ago.
Yeah.
So last year's Rose Bowl game isn't Oregon's fraud and they didn't do what they needed to do because they played Ohio State when it mattered and they got their doors blown off. No, they played an excellent team that figured it out at the end of the year that doesn't exist this year. And if they can at least duplicate or get back to where they were a year ago, that is a team that absolutely could win the national title.
Yeah. And part of it is they have legitimate stars on this team. It's not just the guys that got out of the portal. Let's talk to one now. Matayo Uiagalalei is a guy they recruited out of high school. Everybody wanted him. Younger brother of DJ Uiagalalei.
Massive human being.
Yeah, I was going to say DJ played quarterback. Matayo crunches quarterbacks. That's his job. Here's Matayo Uiagalalei. We are here with the returning sack leader in the Big Ten, Matayo Uiagalalei. Is it weird to hear that?
What, sack leader?
Returning sack leader.
Returning?
Like, you're the old guy now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Shoot, it felt like just not too long ago I was incoming freshman.
It wasn't that long ago, but
yeah.
Now you were just working out with Kayvon Thibodeau. He came into town.
Yeah.
What is that like when the returning NFL guys come in?
Yeah. Shoot, this is really just a blessing. Like, just for him to come back, and he comes back I feel like, and sometimes it's like not on camera. He comes back a couple times a year, but it's just a blessing. He just come and share some knowledge with us, and it's nice.
I think that thing that people have a hard time seeing, and I don't know, I'm a 5'11", guys. Like, I'm not a tall guy, I'm not a short guy. But when Matayo was walking over towards us, and I went to shake your hand, I had this thought, and I rarely do, but just the mass of this human being, of if this person was running at me full speed, wanting to
poop your
blow me
pants
up. I don't think people realize how intimidating that is.
Yeah. But I mean, you're not an intimidating person. Look at this smile. It's like,
let's go, guys.
But
no, I know,
but you put him in pads, you put the helmet on. Yeah, you're gonna die.
Yeah, How do you flip that switch from mild mannered, cool, calm, and collected dude that I would want to have pizza with to wanting to murder somebody?
Shoot, I feel like sometimes on the field, I feel like I'm still a little too calm and need some more
yeah.
But
what do you do?
Does Coach Lanning tell you that you got to do that?
Well, I mean, I guess it's just me. I'm passionate, but it's not gonna. My passion don't look the same as someone else.
Yeah, well, I mean, it does look pretty good though when you the conference and sack. So it's effective. Whatever you're doing is working.
Yeah.
So I got to ask you, because we've talked about this guy. This is one of your new teammates, Isaiah World.
Yeah.
You're big.
Yeah, no, he's big.
He's big.
Yeah, he can
big,
move.
big. How good of a mover is he? How long are the arms?
I mean, I'm pretty sure everything you'd want in a tackle, any kind of trait, he has it. He's tall, he has super good feet. He's long, he's got everything. He's good.
Yeah. I heard, and I don't know if I read this or he said this at the podium, but Dan Lanning said that with all the attention that Ohio State and Penn State are getting at this event, that he's happy to be the silent assassin, which I thought was interesting considering you guys have chrome helmets. But are we underestimating collectively in the national media how good you guys are from a talent perspective because you lost a lot last year? When you walk through the building every day and you're in practice, do you look around and just go we're loaded?
I mean, yeah, but at the same time, it's we got a lot of, I think in our defense, especially, we got some talented guys up there in our defense, I feel like. But then again, experience, they're not as experienced. So, you can have whatever, viewpoint, but we just got to go out there and show it.
People don't see Oregon coming for some reason.
Well, we have, I mean, that's the thing, that they have so many new players, because you guys brought in guys from the portal who have to come and play, like Dylan in your secondary, coming from Purdue. We just mentioned Isaiah World, Emmanuel Pregnon, Matayo Hughes. These are people who I would imagine
very
you guys
talented,
are, you guys are probably very excited about, but I don't know if the
Yeah.
rest of the world knows yet.
Yeah, I mean, shoot, there's probably a lot of guys on the team that a lot of people don't know that's gonna come out this year and really ball. Y'all just have to wait and see.
I
But
mean, but when you're in practice, are you like, yeah,
Yeah.
we're good? Like, I mean, do you get the sense? Like, can you have a sense? Like, I know fall camp hasn't started yet. Of
Yeah.
like, you know, last year was really good. We went wire to wire, best team in college football, Big
Mhm.
Ten champs. Like, you're like, yeah, we can do that again and more.
yeah, I mean, I feel like talent wise, my honest opinion, like we're either on par or maybe slightly above the talent level that we had last year.
When you think about what you guys did, because the 13-0 part of it was so hard to do. Nobody else in college football did it, but
Mhm.
then it ends the way it ends.
Mhm.
How do you look back on last season?
Yeah. I mean, 13-0 is good and all, but you lose and it's like you can't really take the 13-0 away, but it's definitely not how you want to end it. So I feel like the only thing you do is just go to the doctor, is what we say, look what you get better on, and take the next step.
What would your
forward.
message to Oregon fans be about how they should remember last year? Because I mean, like, it's just you don't want to diminish. Like, that's the problem, I think, with the playoff a little bit too. It's just like you had a wonderful, amazing year, and I don't know that we're going to see many teams go wire to wire undefeated in any conference again.
Yeah.
Like, that's not going to be a common thing. Like, do you want to like what would you say to just a random Oregon fan if they were walking by about how to remember last year?
So I don't know.
I got another. We asked
I don't
Kenyon Sadiq this, and he had a couple different answers, and you were one of them.
Mhm.
Can't pick yourself, obviously.
Yeah.
Who's the biggest athletic freak on this team?
Shoot, Canyon's definitely up there. You pick me, I don't know if I'm I don't think I should be up there, but
He had a few answers, but you were
Kenyon,
one of them.
definitely Kenyon. We used to call him Freaky Siddiqui.
I like that.
Isaiah World, Devin Jackson.
Devin Jackson was his first answer, by the way.
Yeah, no, he's a freak.
Yeah. 23 miles an hour?
Yeah, that was like hard, bro. I want to be the fastest guy on our team as a linebacker. Like, he's a freak. Shout out Omaha. But
23 miles an hour running is a pretty absurd thing to be able to do.
Well, that's what you talk about.
and
Seeing this guy, right?
He's not small either.
Right.
Like, he's like 225, 230.
That's what Kenya was saying. He's like,
Yeah.
he's my size, and he's doing this. And you talk about seeing Matayo running after you.
Yeah.
Like, imagine somebody running that fast after you at
The
230.
feeling I had though is if he were to not just run at me, but like take his arms
Mhm.
and hit me right where you're supposed to, like as an offensive
Well, these hands are huge. Like,
yeah.
he could grab you right here, and you're done.
Do you have huge hands?
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see this. Do mine.
Look at your baby's hand. There. It's
I
incredible.
have a small hand. You know what? A player that I'm really excited about on Oregon's roster that I think is under the radar a little bit is Mekhi Hughes.
Yeah.
Is he a hard runner? Like, what has it been like? Watching him operate in practice and stuff.
Yeah, no, he's been good. He's definitely a hard runner. You look at him, you take his shirt off, he's freaking buff.
Must be nice.
Yeah, he kind of has like the traits you want in like a downhill back. He's not just gonna go down on the first hit.
Yeah, and Andy, we have to ask Dante Moore. What are your expectations for how he produces this year?
Yeah. Shoot. I think he's probably our best leader on the team. Just the way he holds himself, his work ethic, just the characteristics he has. I mean, in my opinion, I don't have any doubt in his performance.
I was reading, you were talking about you were not really a vocal leader in high school.
Mhm.
Obviously, you were the young guy before now, but you've taken more of that on. How do you do that?
Shoot, for me it's hard. Like, it's definitely probably close to learning.
Yeah.
For me, I feel like I'm more on like a one-to-one kind of guy, just kind of connecting with players, or like my room, the outside back room, and then translate to the whole front and then the defense. I've talked to the team maybe like once or twice, maybe a few times.
That would be scary.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's my brothers, but I feel like it's the love I have for them. That's why.
Yeah.
I don't. It's
Does
hard
it
for me
get
to talk.
easier as you get to know them better?
Yeah, I feel like I always like speak or leading by example is like something I feel like I hold myself to, but leading like vocally too is something new. I'm still working on it. but-
Mateo, with all the new teams and conferences and the way it's all organized now, I mean, Oregon does have Washington. They have Oregon State. You have rivalries that have existed at Oregon for a long time. But because you guys are going to be playing teams like Ohio State and Penn State that you might not have been playing as frequently as a program in the past, are there any emerging rivalries in your head? Are there teams that you just get geared up for, thinking about the opportunity to play them that like might be like a new emerging rivalry from Oregon standpoint? Like, I'm sure Ohio State's probably the easy answer since it was 1-1 last year and you guys are all competing for a national title. But is there a team that is new to you in Oregon that?
Oh, you're probably the wrong person to ask. I don't care who's on the other side.
Yeah,
I'm gonna line up and go. But I mean, yeah, probably. Shoot, I know Oregon, Ohio State. We've had a history. Even like I don't know how long ago was it, but like Oregon went in there and won like a whole different coaching staff.
Yeah, and 10 years ago they played in the national title game. So I mean, it's not like a new thing, but now every year,
Like to me, like rivalry, I don't
You're not worried about it.
I don't really care about rivalry. Like it could be anybody. I'm gonna treat everybody the same.
Yeah,
that's right.
Which is scary.
Grab you with that giant hand and Matayo, thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for being here. Good luck. It'll be fun to watch you this year, man. Thank you so much.
Sir.
His hand is literally twice the size of your hand.
I know, but also too, I've got baby paws, so like that.
I don't care.
I've got very small.
His hands make my hands look like a baby's hand.
Yeah, it's like that Shallow Hal scene where he called who's that motivational speaker in Shallow Hal?
Tony Robbins.
Yeah, Tony. You see, Andy is like Wikipedia in a human. Jack Black called him banana hands.
That's right,
because he grabbed his hand.
Yeah,
like that's what it felt like. But can you imagine that guy just like right into your chest?
You have no chance if he gets his hands on you.
Just go, and I didn't want to ask Matayo about DJ because DJ went through a lot in college.
Yeah,
but if DJ would have come into college as a defensive end, do you think his career would have been better?
I don't know that he would have had the mentality for it.
Yeah,
that's the question is. Because you have to have a certain mentality. And it's interesting because we're talking to Matayo and he's saying sometimes he feels like he's a little too calm out there.
Yeah.
And he's got that, he's got that smile. But you see what he does on the field.
Yeah.
I think
smile and being amped up is different than being a productive player when the whistles are blowing. I don't care about temperament.
Because think about the work you have to put in to be a quarterback.
I don't
like
need
DJ
the
did.
smashing of the helmets and all the rah-rah stuff.
Right.
He's the returning Big Ten sacks leader, so whatever he's doing is working.
But think about the work DJ had to put in to be a top level quarterback recruit. Like if you're that good of an athlete, it's probably an easier path to have a different position to either play tight end or
with that body, you just like wonder too. It's like could he have been like a?
Now, he's not as big as
no,
Matayo.
I know.
Yeah.
No, he's not. Very, very few people are, but he still is a big, thick kid. And part of the reason why he was what he was rated is because of his body type. So anyway, that's an aside.
But Matayo is like, he is that perfect pass rusher build. He's exactly what you want. I'm very excited to see what this defense does because they lose Derek Harmon, obviously. That's a first round draft pick, but I think they got enough. Matayo's a first round draft pick too.
I'm like so amused by the Big Ten and how many teams are in it because it's like Oregon doesn't even have to play in the Big Ten championship game and they could win the national title. Like Ohio State didn't, or Ohio State finished fourth last year. Like Ohio State, Oregon, Penn State, and one other team will probably go. Yeah, it seems like a bona fide like certainty that those three will go. So if Oregon gets hot at the right time, they could be the reverse of what happened last year, which is a team that loses some games in the regular season if that happens and then gets hot and wins. I think that this is a legitimate national championship caliber team.
They go to Penn State fairly early, kind of in the middle of the season. And then they play Indiana right after that. At Iowa is going to be tricky. At Iowa is a tricky one for a lot of teams this year. And then, of course, at Washington. We're going to have Jed Fish on the show later in the month. And Washington's a lot better.
No Ohio State, no Michigan on that schedule.
Yeah.
Seems like a pretty clear pathway to Indy. But, I don't know. I don't want to I'm watching Dan Lanning walk by us right now, and he's wearing Travis Scott's, and it remembers that I bought fake ones.
Kenyon Sadiq has them, too.
He has I think Dan Lanning has a more smaller path to Nike than I do. But,
he can send a text message and like 8 boxes of shoes show up in 5 minutes.
His office in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
That'd be one great perk. I feel like if I were a recruit, that would be really, really, really big deal.
I think it is a big deal for a lot of recruits. But
we agree though that Oregon's a national title contender.
I think so.
And I don't know if it's revelatory, but I think that
it's not. But I think we haven't really spent much time talking about them And we should. That's a lot of the reason why we decided to make the beginning of this show Oregon centric, because I don't feel like we had Justin Hopkins on and we talked to him in our deep dive series, but I really don't feel like we've mentioned them in the ways that we've mentioned Texas, Penn State, Ohio State.
I looked before we started this, Andy. I put them 9th in my top 25. 9th. Are there 8 teams better than them?
I'm not sure. I mean, Vegas doesn't think so. Vegas thinks they're one of the top 6. So that is going to be fascinating to watch, because we're going to have to see how Dante Moore does. We're going to see how this gels. But Oregon has a chance to be the best team in the country. Not just one of the best, the best.
Yeah, and if you're an Oregon fan, let go last year, remember it fondly, and be excited about the future. That was my message on January, whatever, the day after they lost. That's my message today going into the season.
Exactly. All right. So we shift from Oregon to a team that is going to be here on Thursday, the Michigan Wolverines. I want to take you back to Tony Petitti, the Big Ten Commissioner's press conference on Tuesday. He got asked a very interesting question. Producer River, play the question.
Adam King, 10 TV. There's a report out that you wrote a letter to the NCAA about the Michigan sign stealing scandal. Curious whether the letter happened or not. Do you believe that that should be put to bed, that the punishment that you issued is strong enough and that the investigation should be closed?
Yeah, well, the first part, I'm going to confirm that we did submit a letter. It's not uncommon in proceedings for a conference office to weigh in on. I'm not going to address what the contents of the letter we sent are. And because it's an ongoing process, I don't think it's appropriate for me to comment about whether it's enough or not while there are individuals deliberating. I don't think that's the right thing to do in the process. Look, I will say, having gone through this, one thing to point out is I think when you think about the CSC and the discipline and what we're trying to build with the new entity, having an enforcement mechanism that just is faster is a priority, one that reacts more quickly. This is a system we have now. It's been in place for a long time. It functions the way it was built. But I do think there's this consensus among our colleagues that whatever we're building for the enforcement piece that's going to live inside the CSC, that it's got to be there. It's just difficult to be still talking about this, almost on 2 seasons after. So I think everybody agrees that part of the process should change.
Couple pieces to that. One, obviously, Tony Petitti is not going to reveal anything he said while the Committee on Infractions is still deliberating over the Connor Stallion stuff. His point of, hey, maybe 2 years beyond this thing, we probably shouldn't still be talking about this.
Yeah, there's 2 things here. One is, how can we get the Committee on Infractions to move a little bit quicker?
Yeah.
Because it does take forever to get to the bottom. And I know that some investigations are more complex than others, but it does seem that 2 years is quite.
And what's amazing is they are actually somewhat fast tracking this thing, because I've been told by people who were at the hearing that they do expect the Committee on Infractions to rule on this thing before the season starts, which will be very interesting. And I'll be curious to see what people ask Sherrone Moore, because he is in the case, not attached to attached to a little bit of Connor Stallions. He deleted text messages from his phone from Connor Stallions, but did not wipe his phone, so then turned in his phone to the NCAA knowing they would recover the messages. So they did recover all the messages.
And there was nothing in there that was overly incriminating.
Right. Otherwise, you'd already know, because they would have leaked it. But
do you think it's done? Or it should be done?
It should be done and over with. Like, should they receive any more punishment?
That's what I mean. Yeah, I don't mean like should the process be over. I mean, like, they
did break the rule as the rule was written. Like, but the thing is, and this is the problem with all of this, is punishing the people who were involved at the time. Like, Jim Harbaugh's gone. You can't do anything with him, because they would have attached it to him had he still been there, because he was the head coach. Connor Stallion's never going to work in college football again. Like, it's
okay. Let me ask you.
Okay.
If I stole something and you knew I stole something, but I didn't tell you what I stole or the value of what I stole, how would you punish me?
It's a good question.
That's the thing that I have a hard time with. It's like, okay, they literally suspended the head coach in their national championship season for some of their biggest games.
He was suspended for 6 games.
For the Ohio State game. He wasn't on the sidelines for half their games.
3 games for a different NCAA case, but yes.
So the problem with this, and will remain to be the problem, is we know the severity and or the lengths in which people affiliated with Michigan's program went to go get signs. What we don't know and can't know and will not
That's how it
know is
benefited
how
them.
it benefited them
Yeah.
and how extensive. I'm sure it benefited them. They wouldn't have done it if it didn't benefit
Right.
them. But how extensively did it benefit them? And that's why
I
it's
don't
like
think they're going to take the national
but
title
what do
away.
people like the thing is like what do people want? And
Well-
like I'm not talking to Ohio State fans because they're not, and I'm not talking to Michigan fans. I'm talking to people
Everybody
who don't have
else?
yeah, like what do you
I'm not
supposed
sure
to do?
everybody else is all that worried about it.
But like I just don't know how to adequately punish something if I don't know how extensive the crime was.
Well, here's
Do
the
you,
thing.
do you punish the effort?
Well-
The effort that went into it?
Well,
or
here's
do you,
here's what we know. Here's what we know. They have pre-suspended Sherrone Moore for 2 games. For the Central Michigan game, which there's a lot of irony in that. That it's against the team that
there
Connor
is.
Stallions
the spy
out.
glasses, yeah.
and then the Nebraska game. What I wonder is because I at this point they can't do anything to Jim Harbaugh. They can't do anything to Connor Stallions. So I don't even worry about that. I'm only worried about what happens to Michigan going forward. And I think that's all everybody
Everybody's
except
worried
the
about
Mad
that.
Ohio State fans are worried about.
And how you like I actually have some sympathy for the infractions committee because maybe they have information that we don't, but I don't think that they do because if they did, we would know.
Yeah.
How do you take a subjective infraction that may have been the reason they got their program back on track or may have been the reason why they won by 17 instead of 14? I don't know how extensive it was. How do you it goes right back to the analogy I gave you. Did I steal a piece of gum or did I steal someone's 401k?
And I think those guys have to figure out, those people in the room have to figure out how they feel about
because
that.
even in the legal system,
Yeah.
stealing isn't
But
punished
again,
the same way.
None of it really matters to me in terms of, because I'm worried about what is going to affect Michigan now going forward. And so what could affect Michigan going forward is, does Sherrone Moore get suspended further? Because that's a big question.
I know, but if he gets suspended further, then is that warranted to you based on the information that we have?
Well, remember, they had him in that other case, the cheeseburger gate, the one.
game.
So they have him as a what they call a repeat violator, and he is admitted to deleting the text messages. So they've already got him admitting to. So it's almost cut and dried in that case. But the question is, how much do you punish? The school hopes that the 2-game self-imposed suspension is enough. I'm not sure.
But I think
that's
what
gonna
people
be
want to hear
enough
from
for the
us is,
committee.
do you think it should be enough?
I don't care.
But you do care about how it impacts Michigan moving forward.
Exactly.
And that does.
Here's what I think is going to happen. I'll give you what I think will happen, and we'll see if this is what does happen. So there is supposed to be a ruling from the Committee on Infractions dropping before the season. I think there will be more games than the 2. I don't know if it's 4. I don't know if it's 3. I don't know if it's 5. I'll guess 4. I think it will be more than the 2, but here's what will happen. Michigan will appeal, have him serve the games he's already set to serve, and then see what happens. And if the appeal fails, which they usually do, you've kicked that can down the road and he misses the first 2 games of the next season.
Right. And if you miss those 2, I don't know what their non-conference schedule is, but if you pick the 2 that, whatever. But it's just like, okay, well, we'll see you here a year from now. We'll talk about it again. Like, I'm tired of
that's what I wanted to get to, because the more likely outcome of this is this gets stretched into another football season.
Yeah. I just have a hard time because I go on radio stations in Columbus a lot because of relationships I have.
Yeah.
And I am asked because people in Ohio are obsessed with this.
Of course. I'm sure the chat right now has just erupted between the Michigan fans and the Ohio State fans. And it's you cheated from the Ohio State fans. And it didn't make that big of a difference from the Michigan fans. And people will never, ever back off those positions. And I understand that.
And people ask me, though, like, what do you think should happen? And I'm like a very opinionated person that's not afraid to ruffle feathers. I legitimately don't know. Like, I don't even know how extensive Sherrone Moore's culpability in this is. Like, I don't have a good grasp of
I don't
that.
think they have a smoking gun, because if they did in those text messages, I think we'd be having a different conversation right now.
Yeah, I mean, or was it just a coordinator texting a support person that freaked out for a second?
Right.
Because they didn't find anything. So I just like, everyone's like, oh, well, they're going to get the death penalty, or they're going to they're going to vacate. I don't think anything like that's going to happen. I think the cat's the hay's in the barn on that.
I
just think
the operating question going forward is, does Sherrone Moore have to miss more than the 2 games that he's been self-imposed?
And then if he does,
by
is he the
Michigan
sacrificial lamb that Michigan puts out there on a platter because Jim Harbaugh's gone?
I don't think they put him out there on a platter
for a single game. I mean, for the deleting the text messages, maybe a game.
Well, here's what I think. Here's what I think happened.
Punishment if he's not even involved in it.
Here's what I think happened. He did admit to deleting text messages, so he was going to get punished.
Yeah,
they understood that. They do the self-imposed 2 games. That was, I think, supposed to be the start of a negotiation, but then somebody there at Michigan leaked it, and once they leaked it, you can't negotiate anymore. It just cut the legs out from under Sherrone's people, from Michigan's people. And so there was no more negotiation. Then it was going to become whatever the committee wants to do, they're going to do. So we just have to wait and see what they do.
Yeah. So that's your Michigan preview. They're going to be here in Las Vegas.
And we're still going to be talking about this.
And I'm sure that Sherrone Moore will be asked about it. And I'm assuming it won't be a very good answer.
Can we turn it to a little bit of football?
Sure. I mean, we've talked a lot about Michigan football like this year, but it's just like, what do we think they're going to be? Are they going to be a 9-3 fringe playoff team that ruins other seasons, or are they going to be a year away still? I don't know.
I think much of that depends on Bryce Underwood and how good he is.
Yeah, I think,
and the development of their younger receivers.
Yeah, I don't know who the receivers are. That would be a frightening thing for me. I think that Michigan is probably an 8-4-ish type team that has a chance to beat some teams. I don't know that I'm at the point where I believe that they are a playoff contender.
And again,
that's where I am.
We could be completely in a different place after the Oklahoma game. Yeah, we could have completely changed our mind after the Oklahoma game. So it's going to be a process with Michigan.
Michigan plays Oklahoma, Nebraska, and USC in the first half of their season. Those 3 games, all of which are on the road, are going to be important pillar games for those 3 teams on their conference.
Yeah.
Or those opponents. Oklahoma, Nebraska, and USC seasons, I think, will be determined go a long way in determining how we feel about those teams going into the back half of the year too. So Michigan's interesting in that. How good are they going to be?
Yeah.
But Michigan's also interesting in that they have a lot of interesting cross sections of other teams that are very interesting, and how good they are is going to impact the entire discourse of the conference and some other teams like Oklahoma.
Yeah. And again, we don't know any of that probably until week 2. Now we'll get the Committee on Infractions deal before that. If they have a real sense of humor, they're going to drop that thing while Michigan's here on Thursday. But
Big Ten Media Days has in the past, and I've been to a lot of these, there's always somebody suspended or something happens.
Somebody drops the turd in the punch bowl.
Yeah, every time. So maybe that'll happen. I don't know. But I'm looking forward to visiting with him and visiting with more Michigan players, and certainly a very fascinating team to track going into the year.
A couple of interesting coaching performances today. Because remember, ACC Media Days going on simultaneously in Charlotte while we are here in Vegas with the Big Ten. But 2 coaches on opposite sides of the country with fairly similar performances at Media Day. Now, they're in very different situations. But I want to put these side by side, and I want to let you be the judge here. Producer River, please play Mike Norvell from the ACC Media Days.
Right, and when you look through the past few years, we've accomplished some great things. We've experienced the highest of highs, and we've also found ourselves in a valley. We faced some disappointments, right? But every part of it has come back to our response. And this team and this season that's ahead, I've got great expectations, got a lot of confidence because I've watched the work, because I've seen the investment. Right, I'm really proud and grateful for the coaches and the new leaders that we have within our coaching staff. Being able to have two of the best coordinators in college football, a couple of the best football minds that this game has.
All right, Producer River, play PJ Fleck from Las Vegas.
We got to continue to raise the expectations. We were 3-4 in 1-possession games last year. So people always say, well, how do you improve that? You got to win situational football. You got to be better in 2-minute. You got to be better in 4-minute. And that's what we've been focusing on since January. That if we can give a little bit more and we can flip those, just like we did in 2019, 6-1 in 1-possession games, that's how you win 11 games in the Big Ten. There are 9 conference games. It is a hard league. You have got to be able to find ways to win those 1-possession games. And we're a missed field goal, an onside kick offsides, right? And a 4th and 3 away from having that flip to 6-1 and being in the college football playoff. And that's what our players know, and that's what they believe. We're very, very excited for the 2025 season, and I'm not sure if I have any time left, but if I have any time left, I'll answer any questions you have. If not, I'll see you at the podium. Row the boat, Sky Iman, go Gophers.
I don't know why everyone is yelling.
Fired up.
But two different performances, though. And here's the thing. And it's interesting, as we were saying, this PJ Fleck is kind of right over our shoulder. But I will say this in earshot of him because it's true. He is that person.
Oh, for sure.
You may think it's an act. It's not. He's been that person. He's always been that person. When he was a player, he was that person. As a young coach at Western Michigan, he was that person. He's that person. That is him. You're going to get that performance. You're going to get that vibe. We had players talking about, being in his office, same thing. You get that from him consistently. That is who he is.
Well, the more interesting performance is Mike Norvell.
Right. Because that is not, we've seen Mike Norvell get fired up.
Coach Handsome.
But that's not normally how he is. Like, usually you have to set him off to get to that point. But that was part of his filibuster.
Yeah. Florida State. Oh, God, what is Florida State? What are they?
Well, and that's the other thing
is
two coaches in very different places, because what PJ Fleck was talking about is doing the little things right, going from an 8-win team to a 10-11 win team, which is something that they may be able to do.
Yeah.
What Mike Norvell is talking about is something that no coach wants to go through, that is an almost impossible situation, going from 2-10 to what are they going to be?
Yeah. And I don't think that I have any insight on that.
I don't know either.
And even their win total number 6.5, right? How you doing? Here's PJ. We were just talking about you.
Yeah,
you're all fired up.
Come on
Come say hi.
What are we talking about?
We were talking about being
PJ
fired
Fleck.
up on media today.
Well, yeah. Why wouldn't you be?
Yeah.
This kicks off college football 2025.
Yeah. What fires you up the most heading into this year?
Oh, the players. Just being around the guys. I mean, this is what football's all about. We've got all these distractions in football right now. We got all these transactions. We got everybody talking about things. How many people are talking football today? So
we met Drake
players.
Lindsay today.
Yeah, well, that should fire you up.
Oh my God. How does he fire you up?
He's 6'4", he's 230. He won a state championship in Arkansas, Gatorade Player of the Year. Watched him learn from Max Brosmer. Again, he's a redshirt freshman, but it's nice to know Minnesota. We have a quarterback for 3 to 4 years, but he's really, really talented. But it's going to come up with the supporting cast. The pressure's not just on him. It's more on the supporting cast. But we got a really deep running back room with Darius Taylor and a supporting cast. Our tight ends are deep. Our wideouts are deep. Maybe the most athletic line we've had. So he's got a good cast around him, but it's on them to uplift him.
I don't know how much time you have, but I want to ask you another question before you go. Is that okay?
I just popped in.
Yeah, and I know you got to go.
Awesome.
Yeah.
No, you're good, Dust.
PJ, we were talking about Minnesota on the show last week, in that we are trying to identify identities of programs. What do
yours? I feel like we can easily identify. You're going to run the ball down people's throats. You're going to play great defense. And now, we've seen it with Max, but then maybe Drake takes that next step too.
Yeah, I mean, you hit the nail right on the head. I think depending on who we have and how much success and how much our quarterbacks can handle, depends on how much we throw it. I mean, our running back set the Minnesota running back record last year for receptions. Who would have thought Darius Taylor would have caught 54 balls from the running back position? When we had Mohamed Ibrahim, he caught one ball in like 3 years.
Yeah.
Like, we never threw it to him. So it's all about adapting your own system to the talent that you have around you. And I think all good systems can do that. It's the same system we had 13 years ago, same offense and defense. It's just we adapt it to the personnel based on what our identity will be. But you hit it right on the head. We're going to run the football.
I would say your culture seems to not change, though. Your culture seems to be, and that's what we were talking about before, because we were comparing, contrasting. You probably didn't see Mike Norvell at the ACC, but he was kind of getting loud. You were getting loud. But this is what I always say about you. If you think PJ Fleck is an act, you're wrong. That is him 100% of the time. It has always been
after
him.
13 years, I would have worn off by now. My wife's still saying, when are you just going to calm down? I think that's just who I've always been. If you just go back to, I was an underdog. I was always an overachiever. I mean, I was able to stick around and play in the NFL for 2.5 years, and I have no coaching connections. And at 32, I'm a head football coach because people believed in me. And you work your tail end off. You put your head down and go. Anything can happen.
You've broken through at Minnesota before. What's the hardest part about going from a really good team to a great one?
Well, I really believe that it's the connectivity you have within the team. I think if your best players are your hardest worker, you have a chance. And then if you can create, what I said in my presser today was the multiplier effect, right? With all this additions of college players coming into teams, you're adding them. Okay, that's just a group. Everybody starts with the group because you're adding these players. If you then can get the mindset that that Darius Taylor makes Cam better, makes AJ better, and genuinely wants to, because he's going to make himself better and he wants the team to be better. So he's just going to keep multiplying the talents instead of saying, hey, I don't want that guy to be better because I don't want to compete with that guy. That's a group. I mean, that's just addition. We're talking about multiplication. And the more times you can add A times B times C times D, I mean, you're going to win. And that's what we've been able to create within our culture, I think, for the most part, almost every year.
I wish I could come up with it, like
the saying.
Addition to multiplication. I can't do it.
Who comes up with who comes up with the sayings though?
Well, it depends what saying is. That was mine.
No, I know, but like that's like, we were talking to Dabo Sweeney on the show, and he's got a lot of sayings, and I don't know if he's the author of all of them, but a good saying's a good saying.
Coaches are great thieves. Yeah, they listen to a lot of different things. I've got a great general manager, Garrett Chernoff, and we've been together 10 plus years, and we think a lot alike when in terms of creativity. I think words have power, and I think they paint a picture. And I think in today's day and age, you better not sit there and give a dissertation to a kid. You better be able to get a word out, has a meaning, has a picture, and move on, or you're going to lose them.
Well, you got yours. They're pumped.
And I just want, Minnesota, Minneapolis, very underrated city.
Hey, thanks for
letting
me
just thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome anytime, PJ. Good luck this year.
We have just rowed the boat.
Yeah,
look at that.
I didn't want to ask him if he was the one who created Row the Boat,
He-
but he did. Did he write Row the Boat, or did he steal?
I mean,
Row the
other
Boat?
people have used it, but I think he probably has made it his own at this point.
Duluth. You can row a boat there really nicely in the summertime. It's a very
Well, that
Duluth.
was great, because I think that
And that's why we're
explained
here.
what we were trying to explain, and he explained it better than we could. But they're in a position in Minnesota where they're not that far off. And then this is a conversation actually we had at dinner on Tuesday night, and it was a fascinating conversation about the middle of the Big Ten, not the teams we always talk about, not the ones we always say are championship contenders, but you and I talked about this when he did his renegotiated contract, and he's there through 2030. And I said, okay, what is success there? It's making the playoff during that time.
Do you know what
they can do that?
The new defined success is for Minnesota football games to be viewed in the same way as Tennessee football games.
Right.
Their counterpart in the SEC, who's the 8th or 7th best team going into the year.
Right.
If
Who's
the national
had some really good seasons in the past few
can the
years,
national public who's watching these games view watching Minnesota, Iowa the same way that they do watching Tennessee play?
Ari, there's a pig trophy on the line. We should view that as a sacred game. Floyd of Rosedale, baby.
In the sense of like, this is a game between the 6th and 7th best team in the Big Ten, but that also might mean they're the 11th best team in the country. And like have the same respect in the middle tier of the Big Ten that you do get nationally from the SEC, because we've been inundated for 20 years of Southern success. I'm not trying to, go down the Kings of the North, but I do think that it is interesting that I think Minnesota would stack up against a team like Tennessee a little bit better than people might actually think.
Yeah. And I think knowing your identity is a key to that.
You nailed their identity. I hated what you called their identity. I didn't like it.
Well, he agrees with me.
So that's the person that
you just got to watch him play. It's pretty obvious.
I just don't like that. Like 9 teams in the same conference have the same identity.
But the thing is, they get it right.
Yeah,
it's not about wanting. It's not about what you want to be your identity, but it's what actually gets expressed on the field. And for Wisconsin,
Max Brosmer was really good.
Max Brosmer was really good.
Yeah.
But like Wisconsin did it so well for so long, but it's not their identity anymore.
Yeah,
they need to get back to that maybe, but it's not. Iowa does it well, but their identity has also become incompetent offense. Now that may change with Mark Gronowski this year.
Yeah, Minnesota
is getting its identity right. Now they have
to do Florida State.
Oh, exactly. And this is the problem. This is the problem. Our friend Bud Elliott from CBS just walked by.
Hey, Bud, can you come over here for a second?
We're bringing the competition on now.
Yeah, I don't know if we're allowed to do this.
What are you going to do, fire us?
Yeah, Bud, what's Florida State's identity as a football program?
As a program?
Yeah.
This is Bud, the founder of Tomahawk Nation.
And that's also a fastball right out of the gate, too. Like,
I think right now they're just treading water until they go to the Big Ten or SEC. Like, they know that they're getting a much bigger rev share because of the ratings.
Mm-hmm.
Like the ACC, I think, realized if we don't do this, we might be in the American Conference very soon. So, you got to kind of do that. But I don't think they'll be good this year. They'll be okay, I think.
Well, that's the part I can't figure out, because I think Mike Norvell's in a pretty impossible situation, but they can't be as bad as they were last year.
No.
They can't.
I mean, that was like obviously some culture stuff, and it can
Yeah.
flip really fast in the portal era. And they were early adopters of the portal back when the portal like had very high supply and
Yeah.
very low demand. So and now it's flipped. Like I thought the portal was much worse this year because everybody used NIL to keep their players,
Yeah.
and the demand is higher than it's ever been. So I think it's harder to live out of the portal, and it's kind of shifted back. You got to be good at high school again.
Yeah, we're talking about like Minnesota. Their identity as a program is we want to run the ball and play defense. When it comes to a talent accumulation standpoint, you're like the, I don't got
blue chip ratio.
but what are they trying to do to be good right now as they tread water?
Yeah, I mean,
We're talking about Florida State, not
Right.
Minnesota.
Yeah. I don't know what their identity is.
They always do a pretty good job recruiting DBs. They've done a decent job with some of the interior defensive line stuff. I mean, edge recruiting this year has been a total disaster. Offensive line is, recruiting is not going well. So not getting, better fast, obviously there. Quarterback, if you like the Jaden O'Neal take, okay. I don't know that I love it, but obviously it could work out. The kid has some talent. I think it's also from a PR standpoint, they probably needed a win, right? Like that happens in recruiting. Sometimes you take a kid to get a PR win. I think there's probably an element to that.
Well, I'm excited about Thomas Castellanos because his mouth has written many checks.
I'm excited to watch it.
Yeah, I think they have enough. If the culture's good, there's enough like kind of auto or should be auto wins on the schedule. But it's kind of hard cap. Like I don't think there's some of these teams that are really going to beat if those teams live up to expectations.
Yeah, 6.5 is the number, right?
I think it's like 7.5 juice way under, 6.5 juice over.
Yeah. 6.5 is like Vegas's way of saying we don't know either. Like I have no idea. But
Ari and Bud are going to be at the tables very shortly. I can tell you
I'll see you down there tonight. I haven't gambled much at all since we've been here, so I'm kind of got the itch. I lost $200 on a slot machine on the way over here. So, the top dollar was calling my name. But thanks, man. Appreciate
Thank you, Bud. Appreciate it. See you.
This is our new show strategy.
I like that we just yell at people and they walk. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was the perfect timing.
Yeah. We
So-
actually saw Peter Burns from the SEC Network who came by to see us, and we were like, "Did you get lost?" And of course, we're too stupid to record that. We should have just recorded.
And
that.
he's also wearing an SEC belt. So
the SEC belt that costs like $165.
it's a nice belt. It's the one that stretches, but also is like solid. Yeah.
The first time I saw that belt was on a bar stool in Destin, not on Peter Burns, because I don't think Missouri and A&M were even in the league yet.
I think you could wear that belt.
I could not wear that belt.
Why?
That'd
be a good belt for you.
It's a little too on brand.
Yeah.
a little too on the nose.
I can get a Big Ten belt. Do they sell that in Big Ten? Or
They don't have a Big Ten belt, but how would you fit all 18 logos on it?
My belt's longer than yours.
All right, one more thing.
Nothing better than a good well-placed fat joke, right?
We're at Big Ten Media Days. The heart of Big Ten country, of course, is Ohio. It's the heart of it all. We have to travel to Cleveland in our minds. When we were talking about Nick Saban, remember Greg McElroy at SEC Media Days said, "I'm hearing from people that Nick Saban may be back in the mix for coaching." That obviously went through several iterations. When we talked about it, Ari, we said we think, probably more NFL than college. And I said, "What team?" And you said, the Browns.
Dog pound, baby.
We have further conspiracy theorying. Well, Colin Cowherd saying it's not a conspiracy theory, but
it's a conspiracy theory.
You just listen because it involves Nick Saban, Jimmy Sexton, the Haslams,
and Arch Manning,
owners of the Browns and Big Tennessee Boosters, and Arch Manning.
In fact, this is the worst kept secret in the South. Haslam, Jimmy, owner of the Browns, huge SEC Tennessee booster, leans heavily on the Manning family. Very close to the Manning family. Yes, that's not make-believe. Arch Manning is part of the Manning family, and this is where Nick Saban comes in. Saban is incredibly close to not only Jimmy Haslam, but Saban's close to the Manning family as well. And so Saban, if he could land, I'm told, a top quarterback like Harbaugh going to the Chargers for Herbert, he would take a phone call for the NFL. And there are two teams guaranteed to be awful this year in the NFL. Cleveland and the Saints. Nick Saban has coached in Cleveland with the Browns under the Belichick staff, and he coached at LSU. This is not a conspiracy theory.
Okay.
Daddy had to sit down. He was tired. Okay.
This definitely sounds like a conspiracy theory. Here's the thing. The Browns are so bad at everything. How do we know they could effectively tank and be the worst team in the NFL?
The Cleveland Browns have drafted in the top 5 like 15 times since they came back to Cleveland in 2001, and they have never successfully taken a quarterback that has been the future of
This
their
also
franchise.
assumes that Arch Manning is leaving after this
And
year.
that also
I don't think
assumes,
that's a real
too,
safe assumption.
that the Browns would even be in position. They can't even tank properly. It's the most inept. You can play the clip of the reveal of the helmets today.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if we have that. Please just play that.
Watch
right
this
now.
poor photographer. If you're watching on the YouTube stream, just watch this. So they're trying to debut a poop brown helmet. I believe Dude Wipe sponsored the reveal.
Yeah, they got a poop brown helmet that is being sponsored by the. By the way, Dude Wipes, not a sponsor. Wish they were. Really refreshing.
Come on,
I don't
Dude
know
Wipes.
if- I
Let's
don't-
go.
I don't know if you've used them.
I have.
They're nice.
You love podcasts, Dude Wipes. Let's go.
The problem with Dude Wipes is that after you've cleaned, there's no drying mechanism. So like they need to like do the dual dude pack where
dude blow dryer
dual dude wipe pack where it's a wet wipe on the left and then a soft towelette on the right, like dry.
Like wet wipe version of the McDLT at McDonald's
feel
back
like
in the day.
if
The
you
hot
use a
side hot and the
Dude
cold
Wipe,
side cold.
And you
Not
walk
talking
out
about
after
this.
using the dude wipe, that a lot of times it simulates the feeling of swamp ass.
We are never going. You're so bad at this. We're never going to get them as a sponsor now. Okay. All right. Back to the conspiracy theory, because it is a conspiracy theory. Like,
we're not going to blow sunshine on everybody, okay?
But people who might give us money, we should.
Okay, you know what? They can edit that out. Like, that's up to River and you. But I'm just saying, like, I want my stuff dry. Okay.
Arch Manning, I don't think he's coming out after this season. Even if it's like,
why is everybody saying that? Stop saying that. You don't know anything. I don't know anything.
Okay, we don't know.
What if he wins the Heisman?
But what about Arch Manning's college career so far has been conventional?
No, you're right. I mean, I understand if you say I could see him coming back, but like I don't think that he's coming back is a different statement. Like, is it possible? Certainly. But what if they go win the national title and he throws for 3,300 yards? Like, he's gone. Like, he's not coming back. So, but also, too, it doesn't matter if we get back to the conspiracy because the Browns will not get him.
Right.
It won't work that way for them.
The Saints are probably going to be bad.
Yeah.
And what if we want to conspiracy theorize? Where's Arch Manning from?
The Browns would probably.
He's from New Orleans.
Yeah, I think the Browns would probably trade down
Also,
if they had a chance to get
by
him.
the way, the Nick Saban of it all, fine.
Yeah, that's the most important part.
But here's the other part of it, though. When has a member of the Manning family ever worked behind the scenes to ensure a team did not take a member of the Manning family?
No, it's never
to
happened.
make sure. Oh yeah. Oh wait, it did happen. That's right. Archie Manning made sure Eli didn't go to San Diego. If Archie Manning doesn't want to get Eli in San Diego and wants to engineer something to get him out of San Diego, there's no way in hell he's going to let Arch get picked by Cleveland.
Unless the Saban's the coach, I might think about it. I don't know. The Browns have this dark cloud over them as a franchise, and no matter how promising there is just a darkness that swallows you there. And it's not. I don't believe in curses. I'm not like that. But there is.
Ari grew up a Browns fan. By the way,
there is a level of ineptitude there. They can't even reveal a freaking helmet without a guy falling into Lake Erie. Like, it's just like it's a nightmare, an absolute nightmare. But also, too, Nick Saban does have Cleveland Browns connections. If they did get a quarterback that you could actually, whether it's Arch or not, like,
and that's the thing.
It doesn't have to be Arch.
Lenore Sellers, it could be Drew Aller,
DJ Lagway or something. I don't know in 2 years.
Well,
I have no idea.
Not next year,
I know, but they could get somebody else that is exciting. But like, things would have to line up. I could see the Browns going after Nick Saban, and I could see the intrigue of that because an NFL team is an NFL team, and I just wouldn't want Nick Saban's legacy to be tarnished by that dark hole of a franchise.
I just think an awful lot of puzzle pieces would have to fall into place.
I mean, it would be incredible
for that scenario to take place.
I do love like NFL stories that involve college football's world combusting into an NFL team.
Well, and it is basically saying that Jimmy Sexton, who's a graduate of the University of Tennessee, the Haslams are big Tennessee boosters. Okay, I get it all. And obviously Jimmy Sexton represents NFL players and NFL coaches, so he deals with these guys all the time.
Don't
But
say it's not a conspiracy theory when the entire thing is on a board connecting dots and
Yeah.
you're contriving this all up on your own.
oh yeah,
Yes, in theory, it all makes sense, but whether all it takes
no,
is
this
one
is
person.
this
to not
is
be
the
interested.
beautiful mind hut right here.
Yeah.
It's just a bunch of papers on the
And
wall.
in 2025, if you say this is not a conspiracy theory, it's a conspiracy theory. Twitter this week is wild, by the way.
Yeah.
The non-sports world, you know what's going on. It's crazy, and I don't know if we want to bring up any of that again, but
We don't. What we do want to bring up is Dear Andy, Dear Ari, coming up on Friday's show. Get your questions in. Andy Staples on3@gmail.com, Ari.Wasserman at on3.com. Thank you to Matayo Uiagalalei. Thank you to PJ Fleck. Wonderful show today,
I
Ari.
was just going to bring Adam Rittenberg from ESPN on here just to wave.
He got a very important phone call.
We
So
got PJ Fleck and Bruce Feldman. I just wanted like one more surprise cameo to wave goodbye. I couldn't get it done, so
We'll
we'll get somebody.
we'll add some more tomorrow. We'll talk to you soon.